one of the shifts that happened for me was in the beginning of the pandemic when I started to see if we activists had money. So I put on with my former partner and some other volunteers the Thank You Body Rally. Okay, that was $10,000 out of my pocket and I was happy to spend it. However, I thought, okay, if this costs this and it's one afternoon, right? Like we need money. Okay. Like we activists we truthers need the money. Like we better start getting wealthy fast. I mean, there is no one I would rather see wealthy than all of you people. So when we're in this, like, oh, I don't need money or asceticism thing, I mean, listen, if it's working for you, I'm not talking to you. But when you're in this kink with money where consciously you want it, it could go the other way too. And then your shadow desire is that you don't, or vice versa. Consciously, you don't want it, you don't need it, who needs it? It's the root of all evil. But then your shadow desire is literally salivating for it. And you judge everyone who has it, which of course is, we know how you meet your shadow is that you have that judgment. So I started to feel like, oh, no, we better get our act together. We better start loving, making money, having money, working with money, creating with money. And that unlocked the opportunity for my inner masculine to mature and to really engage the aspects of financial competency that I had imagined a man in my life would handle. I've never had the experience of a man in my life handling finances for me. And I've been married 2 times and it's not happened in most part, probably because I've not consciously or subconsciously allowed it. And so the opportunity arose as I've been single and celibate for almost 2 years. The opportunity has arisen for me to develop significant competencies, to learn what it is to deal with the debt system and mortgages, to apply for things like a HELOC, to take a lease out on a car, to open up trusts and manage them, and to understand what it is to look upon my finances relationally, to actually go into my bank account and I'm connecting, I'm having dinner, with my money. Like, how you doing? How's it going? Like, let me know. And then to stay in the open flow of it. Right. So how can the spending of it be always fun and playful? So some people talk about how there's the masculine money is like paying your rent and even food, the necessities, and then feminine money's play. I wanted to make it all that way. It all feels good. I love that I can put this all out and that I can literally have whatever I want. Then I learned about Melanie Layer is her name. I watched a masterclass of hers and I studied a lot of the women talking about money too. Amanda Francis, Madeline Moon, they helped to grow the permission field for me to step into this wealthy woman archetype. I think for doctors, it's particularly awkward because we're pretending that money is bad and we don't want it and that we're not running a business. And I learned what she taught about money love languages, which I thought was really cool. And I'll summarize briefly for you here. The money love languages are how you feel wealthy. So I think this is important to know because if you are somebody who is like one of them is like being with, spending time, then you actually want money in your savings account. And if you don't have 20K, 50K, 100K, 200K, million in your savings account, you will not feel wealthy. It doesn't matter if the money comes through and you can spend whatever you want. If you are a touch person, then you're somebody who wants cash. You want to have a beautiful billfold. You want to have cash organized and you want it in the safe. Otherwise, it's too virtual. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel real to you. But when you see you got thousands under your bed, that feels like wealth to you. Then there's gifts, which is being able to buy whatever you want for yourself or other people without feeling constriction around that. That is wealth to you. Words of affirmation is learning about money, becoming expert in money. Often these are people who teach about money. They feel wealthy when they are legitimized in their expertise and their ability to speak with intelligence about money. And then there's mine, which is acts of service. And for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe because we never had a cleaning lady or anything like that growing up, I feel like a wealthy woman when I am supported. And at this stage in my life, and this could change, I could see it changing, paid support actually feels really good to me. Maybe it's my way of fabricating a community that on some nervous system level I require, and it doesn't actually exist around me yet in my lived life. And the acts of service is like, okay, so I will feel fully expressed in my wealth when I have a chef and a daily cleaning person and I have a driver and these kinds of things. And right now, I don't know what that was, in my moving process, and especially as a single woman, like I have a staff pretty much of like 20 different hired men. There's some like subconscious dom fantasy I'm acting out where I get to tell them what to do all day long. I don't know what it is, but I like that. I like feeling supported. I like feeling like I have men and women around me here to help me, help me, right? It allows me to tap into that. So it's simultaneously like dom and also very submissive because I have to know what I want. I have to ask for it and I have to be in the vulnerability of needing that. So I really like that because otherwise you won't have the marker, right? There's an excellent book called Essentialism that helps you to learn how you know you are successful, basically. And having these markers is essential. Otherwise, you're just turning the wheel, which is fine because actually the pursuit is so much of what's delicious to us. And then I'll add another layer that actually Carolyn Elliott talks about, which is really getting in touch with the darkness of money. So, whatever you might know about the fiat system, and especially since it's been decoupled from any actual inherent value or goal backing, it's debt, it is illusion, it is participation in a system that is fraudulent and corrupt. And how can you own that? You still want it if you do. How can you own that you too have those qualities? How can you come into the dark parts of yourself that connect to the dark parts of whatever it is that you're participating in and with? I think all of that has helped me, especially in the past, I would say 2 years, to manifest millions out of the void. And I never would have said what I just said, even a couple of years ago, because I'll tell you one other quick story. I would think that you wouldn't like me if I said that thing. And now I just feel actually the opposite that if you don't like me because of that, then you can work on your own shit. One other thing I'll say is that in the year after I left my last partnership, it was the first time I'd ever earned on my own. I've always had a partner since I've been earning, since I've been in the workforce, if you will. And I had this belief that without the male gaze, I had that inverted polarity, like I'm the artist who needs the muse kind of a thing. But I thought without a man in my life, I don't know that I have whatever I had before. And I don't know what's going to happen. So I told myself the whole calendar year of what would this have been? 2022. Yeah. I told myself that my business was failing and that everything was a struggle and things were falling apart and we had the worst VMR launch ever and blah, blah, blah. I was like really in this victim story, but I'm so good at my victim story that you can't even tell. They seem so true. And it wasn't until I hired these gals who ended up not working out, but I hired these consultants to save my business. Bad energy, like, please save me. It's the wounded feminine. And they requested an audit that I found out that it was September and the business had already earned 7 figures. That I had arguably the best year of the business without a cash infusion from HarperCollins or anything like that. That was pretty fucking shocking that I was telling myself this story of poor me, so sad. Look at me withering without the sunlight of a man in my life. And meanwhile, right in my actual lived experience was in stark contrast to that. So that's how amazingly we can put sad music to our sunny day fucking life. So I lived 9 months of that year feeling bad for myself and recruiting louche fucking energy from everybody else to feel bad for me too. So that was pretty sobering. And after that point, I was like, okay, I am ready to have a different story now.